Hello, this is Brian Shannon from AlphaTrends.net. Today is Friday, the 9th of May, 2008. On Wall Street today, we're looking at shares of Google, symbol GOOG. The stock obviously had a rough start to the year, dropping from the mid 700s down towards about $420 or so. And you can see that the level that it fell down to, near that 420 or so, was a prior level of resistance that pretty much held the stock back for most of 2006. That level of resistance was then tested as support in March of 2007, and then once again right here. And that's just going to make this level more important going forward if and when it comes back down to that level in the future. If we drill it down to a weekly time frame, we get a little bit better look at the action in here, and you can see that that resistance level was actually broken on this little symmetrical triangle, and then the stock had another little consolidation here, and then this is where it really experienced a fantastic run late in the year last year. Now here's the weakness we've seen this year, pulling down towards that 420 level. And when we look at the daily time frame, we see that again, the catalyst for the big move recently back above the 50-day moving average, and that was the earnings. Now when you look at an earnings report, and this was the day of the earnings report, it gapped much higher. It actually didn't really gap there because it traded at each one of these levels in the after hours the day before. But on the morning that the stock opened, it opened up right around this 530 level or so. And now what we're looking at on the right-hand side of the screen is this full day right here using 2-minute candles. So this is one day of activity here where you see the low of 524 and the high of 548. That's equal to this low right here and this high right there. So what we saw was that the stock gapped up. Sellers tried to take control initially, but then it got above what's known as the VWAP, the volume weighted average price. I talk a lot about that on my website and in my new book. And once the buyers were able to maintain control of the stock above there, it was a very nice uptrend. Now, if you look at what a lot of people do, they look at this stock and they say, well, it's up too much. You know, the stock gapped up $60, $80, and I think I'll sell it short. If you're going to sell it short, when it gets back above that daily VWAP, it means the average person is in a winning position, and basically that the buyers have control. If you look at the contrast between the very same day Intuitive Surgical reported earnings, and that stock gapped down to 310 from about 340 or so, you can see that the buyers tried to take control with that green candle right there, and this on the right hand side is that same day blown up basically using 2-minute time frame. And the daily VWAP was declining all day long as the sellers remained in control. So those, and actually if you look at where ISRG is right now, you can see that these gaps tend to create trends. When we have a large, what's known as a breakaway gap here in ISRG, and then in Google, it tends to lead to trend continuation. So Google is looking very bullish right now, and I drew this trend line in. Perhaps the market is going to run up to that level and find a little bit of resistance. That's where it's also seen an important level of support late last year before it broke down. So it looks like maybe the stock is heading up towards the 650 level or so. It's definitely in good technical shape. If you're long the stock, you want to just be sure that that you're managing risk properly here. The number one job of any trader is to manage risk, and I don't think that a pullback towards this 200-day moving average would be unreasonable to expect here, and perhaps that would be a good place to look for an entry into the stock if the stock can manage to rally from that level once again. So I think that it looks like it's probably likely to find support near that 200-day moving average, near about 565 or so. And then there's a pretty good possibility, I think, that the stock can continue up towards that 650 level. But again, manage risk and know where you have a strategy for getting out in case the market reverses, in case the trend in Google reverses.